And we're not taking any break. We'll go straight to that conversation with His Excellency, the Governor of Benue State, who is already seated. Your Excellency, thank you so much for coming on the program. Your Excellency, if you can hear me, good morning and welcome to the program. Oh dear. So, Bukola, let's see as we can sort that out. That's His Excellency Alia, the Governor of Benue State, who is already seated waiting for us to sort out these issues.
All right.
All right, Your Excellency, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Your Excellency. So, let's begin from yesterday. The last thing we heard from the government was the head counts that you talked about yesterday. I think you said about 59 persons. In terms of head counts have so far been confirmed dead. Let's begin with, is there an update to that effect before we dig deep into what exactly is going on in your state?
Thank you so very much. First of all, when we say official head count, there are a number of elements that are into it. One, we have the DSS who are already in various local governments and very active in a number of places, including in Ayewata, where the incident took place. Then we have the police, we have the DSS, we have the police, we have the civil defense, and then we have the military. And again, when we do the head count right on the spot assessment, then we claim it as official.
All right, Your Excellency, we needed to put that number in perspective because we're seeing numbers flying around. In fact,
out of this, we lost 2 people, but the others are still quite stable in the hospital.
All right.
In the teaching hospital here in Makadi.
Okay, I wanted to be, I thought you were done because we weren't hearing you. I guess it's a network. So let's squeeze in as much as we can within the network, as the network allows us. The reason why I started with the question of fatalities is because we're hearing 200, we're hearing 59, we're hearing all kinds of numbers. So we needed clarity as to the death toll so far, whether there's an update to that effect. The last, you've been speaking since this, what we call the bloodbath. I literally call it a carnage in Benue in that sense has been happening. You've alluded to the fact that it's foreigners that are responsible for some of these things. But some of your people are saying they know the people. These are not just foreigners. They are Fulani militia that are responsible for this. The reason I'm putting this in perspective is to the effect that it looks like we're still arguing as to who is responsible for this massacre. So, Your Excellency, from where you sit and given the latest spate of killing, who is responsible, or who are those responsible for the killings that are taking place in Benue?
I can hear you.
Oh, there. Oh, boy. Let's do the best we can to see how much of His Excellency's thought we can get, because the killings are becoming unbearable. They're becoming too much. It's traumatic for some of, especially those living in the rural areas. Just about a few weeks ago, about 30-something people also, if my numbers are correct, were killed, and we raised the alarm that we may come back to this table again to ask similar questions. And sadly, we're back again. This time is 59. Your Excellency, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, I am. I'm hearing you now.
Yeah, did you get my question before the network interruption?
No, I never heard you.
Okay, I was saying that because of the disparities in numbers, people throwing different numbers, we needed that data officially from you, who is the Chief Security Officer. The last time you've spoken to the effect that foreigners are responsible, invaders are responsible in that sense. But some of your people are saying, no, no, no. The people are people around us. They are militias, Fulani militias, allegedly, and all of that. Now that this set of killings have occurred, Your Excellency, My question, which every Nigerian wants to know, because if we don't diagnose the problem rightly, the solution is very far from us. Who are those responsible for killing your people? Oh dear. And get around this network, because this is a very, Bukola, I've been trying to see how we can get a sense of brutal honesty as far as the problem of Benue State is concerned, because there's a bit of inconsistency as to who is responsible. Some have said it's multifaceted. Some of the people are saying, we know these guys, they are militias from an ethnic nationality, calling Fulani people. Some are saying even no, the Fulanis are even victims of some of these things. The governor himself has also talked about the fact that foreigners are involved, but the network seems not to be allowing us. Your Excellency, let's try again whether we can hear you. Oh dear.
You know,
so Bukola.
Jeffrey, my heart goes out to this youthful population. Hearing them speak yesterday about how they're leaving their towns and going to Makurdi, and some of them say even some parts of Makurdi is not safe anymore. And these are the questions and concerns that we'd like to put through to the governor, His Excellency Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, to let us know indeed what exactly the situation is. What are his needs as far as security is concerned? What is the measure of backup that the governor requires in terms of deployment of more policemen, more police infrastructure, more weaponry to the communities that need them the most? If you talk about that as well, what does he need as far as backup for military formation? Because these security agents are now becoming targeted. I wonder if His Excellency is back now, so he can respond to some of these concerns that we've already raised. Your Excellency, did you get that?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so very much for expressing your concerns as well. My heart goes out to all the victims of this carnage, so I describe it, and the immediate communities that are badly affected. You were asking what I heard, who the killers of the Benue people are. This bears some onion layers. First of all, it started many years back. Makurdi and Guma local government that are infested very terribly now, particularly Guma, had been in this struggle in the last 16 to 19 years ago. Now, when we came into governance 2023, 17 local governments were in the front lines of attacks statewide. And then we fought everything down to 9 local governments and then to 6 local governments. And then the spike went up again. And the number of local governments that were in the front lines of attacks now included 20 local governments: Logo, Ukum, Katsina Ala, then Gwe West, Apa, Agatu. So we now fought in a way that Agatu's case was no longer in the deep front lines. So we're left with 6 local governments. And Guma local government, at a very long time, over 1 whole year, had never been in the news for bad reasons at all. Last year, people had gone back home, did their farming with bountiful produce. But this farming season again, we started experiencing the face of these new attacks. The first of the new attacks comes this way. Before now, we are talking about the farmer-herder crisis. And now it graduated from there. It became the question of the herders came in, but then the armed men were amongst them, and we tagged them the armed herders. Now, what we experience generally is the herds are not being brought. But those who are in the front lines fighting out here only carry AK-47 and AK-49. What are their aims? They come in, as they don't even come with cows, they attack, they kill, and then after 1 or 2 weeks, a number of people now come back to occupy. What we are understanding on the ground is, I mean, it's a very simple equation. A thief would not just come to a community unless there's someone within the community who leads him to your house or within the community. I believe that's the basic. So what we now understand is, we share borders with the Cameroon, with Taraba, with Nasarawa. The areas where Kwande were having their own attacks were said to be those who came in from the axis of the Cameroon. Now, what we knew was they were not necessarily Nigerians speaking the Hausa we know, or the Fulani we hear bits of. When you come to the axis of Nasarawa, this is where we're having a lot of challenges. There are a number of havens within the Nasarawa state, and there are routes where these people come through. So anytime they are shifted out from Benue, like what you see now is, if someone describes it as a reprisal, we wouldn't say no to that. Because I spoke with the governor of Nasarawa trying to see how we can synergize, and if he has any new facts that we don't have here, we can apply them. And what he told us was he got some intel that the terrorists were coming through his state into Benue. And when I told him that, no, the havoc was already caused here at Yelwata in Benue, then he said probably they came, made a touchdown in Yelwata, and were going back, because he said that one woman was also macheted in Nasarawa state. And then they found their ways out again. So what we have is, strangely, the fact that the headers had a crisis, the armed headers hijacked it, and then now the bandits and the terrorists have come in completely. And that is the true situation on the ground.
Your Excellency, I wonder if you've been following the conversation. You said the herders had the crisis, the armed herders hijacked it, and that's the situation. But one of our analysts, who is a security consultant, says there are ethnic militias in Benue State from all ethnic colorations in Benue. That's besides the foreign elements in Benue. The question is, would indigents of Benue be recruited into militias to attack and kill their own population? So I'd like you to speak to this particular aspect of the theory. Before we get into Mr. President's reaction, and of course another reaction from your state assembly, help us understand this.
Yeah, it is very possible that members of the state may have been recruited into the external militia. We can't deny that because in the open spoken parlance, 1-2 names have been mentioned. But traditionally, again, there are some bandits within the territory, within certain local governments, who now, since
Oh dear.
people who
okay.
would help them fight each other. So that is a given.
Okay, so you acknowledge that indeed there are ethnic militias in Benue. From there, let's now head to the president's understanding of what seems to be happening. The presidency put out a statement yesterday saying that you know, there are political and community leaders should be brought to book, and in fact he requires the intervention of yourself, Governor Alia, in this particular situation. So is there a community dimension to his misunderstanding, political or communal misunderstanding dimension to this? And to add to that, a member of your state assembly has disagreed vehemently with the presidency's stance to this, saying that the presidency does not have the intelligence or the exact understanding of what is happening. So the question would be, Governor Alia, what is the nature of your own communication with the presidency as far as what is happening in Benue is concerned? Are you providing a clear understanding, the big picture in terms of security report to President Bola Tinubu?
There's no question that the president fully understands the situation in the state. And if anyone says he doesn't understand, I don't know what they mean, but the fact is he understands it fully well. And he's been briefed by myself as well. So he fully understands it. The conversation of yesterday, again, we needed to report to him what is happening in Benue State. So we updated him and we made him understand the number of people that were killed again. The understanding we all have on this is, if he didn't have an understanding of what is going on in Benue, he wouldn't be giving us full support. If we were under siege, 17 local governments out of 23 were under siege, and then we fought it all down to 9 local governments, and then now it went down to 6 and then 7 local governments again. As I speak, the last time we had some severe attacks, 3 units were assigned to us from the federal government. They came in, and this is why there is a huge shift. Those who had occupied the spaces, the local now had to leave. And instead of the 6 or 7 local governments we should be talking about the attacks, we're now talking about 3 local governments that are in the front lines of attacks. It is because it came down to 3 because of the full support again we got from the federal government. So they are supporting. The 3 units that came in made some huge impact on the land. You hear of complaints against the military every now and then, that some are not moving into the actual places, into the bushes where the strikes are, where the attacks are going on. But then we had the visit of the Chief of Army Staff here again. He addressed his cronies, he spoke with them, and we've been having some improvements, because we have come down, instead of 6 local governments, come down to 3 local governments. Having said that, the fact here is we have internal bandits as well. I received a report from the judicial panel of inquiry we had set up in the Sankara axis. Sankara constitutes Katsina, Ala, Ukum, and Logo local governments. A part of the crisis that is even spread into Guma and then Apa, Agatu, and then it's covered, it's trying to envelope Otupo as well. And the mid-term report of this inquiry had revealed the politicization of the insecurities in Sankara axis. And this is a fact. The reports came in, and we even had to we're going to set up a 5-man team to produce a white paper, and then we will make everything public to the entire populace. So that is a given, and this is a fact as well. So we've gained a lot of support from the federal government. More people have come in, more squads have come into the state.
All right, Your Excellency. Okay.
And this is to support and help our system in the state to get done with the 3 local governments that are under siege now.
All right, Your Excellency, it's difficult to comprehend that to even accept, in that sense, that the crisis that has been there, as you've alluded to from your opening statement, for many years, until now, we're still debating as to who is responsible and who is not responsible. For every discerning Nigerian, they want this killing to end. These killings, whoever is being killed, as long as that citizen is a Nigerian citizen. So I want to read you part of the statement, because we have you as the governor of the state, we have security chiefs, service commanders in the state, we have the police commissioner who reports to you. We also have your brother, the former governor, George Akume, who is the SGF, who has the ears of the president. And we're still having all of this because...
This is frozen again, Ken.
Your Excellency, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I was saying that, so that I'll get straight to my question. I was saying that it's difficult to accept that till now we are still permutating as to what is the cause of the problem. You are saying what you know as the chief security officer of the state, what is the cause of the problem, but your people are saying something differently. They're saying this is bloodbath for land grabbing, for all the things they've alluded to, and they've highlighted who they think is responsible. Now, you are there as chief security officer, there are service commanders there, there's a police commissioner there, there's even Senator George Akume, who is the SGF, who has the ears of the president, and they are conflicting positions. Now, this is what the lawmaker said. He said, in reacting to the statement of the president, said, reconcile with warring factions. The intel before Mr. President is heavily incorrect and inaccurate, suggesting that these are communal crises. They are far from it. The idea that killings are on both divides suggests that we, the Benue people, are the ones killing Fulanis first. This is unacceptable, so these killings are one-sided. The Benue people are at the receiving end. So each time we have this conversation, Your Excellency, you have a position, your people have a position. So whose position are we going to take? As far as reconciling or bringing an end, the president has said you should be a statesman. I would like you to react to that. What do you think that the president meant by you should be a statesman and bring everybody to the table?
Yeah, definitely. You must have heard it yourself. A few days ago, some senators came together to say that I accused some Abuja politicians from the state who are sponsors of the internal bit of crisis we've been experiencing. If I had reported that I am in receipt of the report from the judicial panel we had set to try to find out answers on why Sankara in particular had been under attacks. And we have the local bad boys in there who are playing part to this. Definitely, there are some people who have been sponsoring the bad boys within the Sankara axis to come out and then attack their own very people. Having said that, again, this is why I say a complex situation, it's onion layered. Initially, we had the farmer header crisis in a number of 17 local governments. And now it graduated into the armed headers attack with the entire local government, with those local governments that they came through. And then now the phase we're experiencing is total bandits and terrorist attacks. And why do they come in? I appeared on your station here the other time and say, I'm convinced that their aim was to come, attack, kill, maim, and then land grab. Because the moment they came in, they drove people away, they attacked, killed quite a number, and then got themselves situated. They occupied the spaces. So now that they had been moved out, people would want to go back fully to do their own farming. So sentiment apart from all this, we have a complex situation that is primarily being sponsored from somewhere and being remote controlled from somewhere for all the attacks to happen here. We would be able to contain just the intra-local government or the intra-local government or the interlocal government crisis within the state. What is our primary anxiety and problem here is the externals that come in, those who come in armed with their AK-47 and AK-49. So I think the president, it's not wrong to have said that we should try to find a common ground for reconciliation. Totif had invited the SGF and myself because of what he was hearing out there in the public. And then he tried to find out whether there was some differences between us. The SGF himself said, no, there wasn't any problem between us. If there were, going forward, there will be no anxieties at all. So Totif and the traditional institution should go to bed with their two eyes closed. So that is one component of it, that we need to continually ensure that we do not have internal crisis. The federal government is supporting us for the flushing of those who come from outside with AK-47 to attack us, and maybe possibly try to even recruit some of our young men to join their ranks. So we cannot say that the president doesn't have a grasp of what is going on. He does. If we are not together from within the house, then we cannot fight a common front. So I feel that my conversation with the president yesterday does not expose any ignorance here at all. He understands it, and this is why we've been having continued support. Again, I had said that 3 MOPOL units were drafted into the state. They came in, they supported, they helped. Now, instead of the 6 local governments that were in the front lines, we're talking about 3 local governments that are under attacks now. Again, in the 3 local governments, Apa, Agatu, where more efforts and forces were shifted to, in little time now, we're not going to hear about, hopefully, about Apa, Agatu in the front lines again. Those attackers who...
Your Excellency, you can land on your thought so that I can come in.
Usually they come through Nasarawa State. So it was in a bid of going back that we experienced those attacks in Yelwata. Yelwata shares boundary again with Nasarawa State. And that was why we had these recent attacks.
All right. It's a good thing that you have clarified that indeed this has nothing to do with communal clashes. But I then wonder, if then you insist that the presidency has a firm understanding of this, is it an update from the post put out by the presidency yesterday that now gives them a full picture? And prior to this time, they didn't have an understanding of what exactly was happening. Well, Your Excellency, let's go to the protest from yesterday. We saw security agents disperse the protesters, and we wonder why this is so. These are unharmed protesters, bearing no weapon, just trying to express themselves. And at the same time, why is there no quick deployment of deterrence of this same, security architecture to the people who are attacked in their sleep, in their homes?
Again, there have been very prompt responses on the attacks we've been having. If we leave sentiment out of this equation, we would better appreciate this narrative. They granted that the military is stretched. I'm not defending them, but we've had enormous support. You can appreciate this story if you are in the state and you fully understand the different stages and levels we've had series of attacks. So there has been very prompt responses. About the protest yesterday, I fully understand that this is due to frustrations. And for those protesters who came from out of state to sympathize with us within the state, I can understand their frustration and the frustration of us all, even in the streets. It's not that the protesters were attacked. When protest is being made, and you're talking about over 200 people, 300 people, there is a tendency of it being hijacked. It's not everyone who walks in there that comes so freely with leaves and all that. People come in to discredit every effort that is put in place. And at the end of the day, as they hijack the protests, more destruction is even brought in. I strongly feel that we are so much in pain and in sorrow to a level that we wouldn't want more disenfranchisement from any group at all. I appreciate their frustration, and I thank them for the support they give the state. But there's so much work that has to be done. It's beyond the protest. We need to cushion those IDPs we have. We have a mega IDP campaign here. And for any protest to go up to continue, we don't know the ulterior motives of a number of people who would come in there, hijack the protests, and then now start causing a number of havoc. As I speak, there were even attempts, to occupy some government spaces. So if there were no pushback, then we would have been hearing very different stories. But we thank God that even with the protesters, there was no cause for alarm. No one was injured. There were no casualties whatsoever. But the fact again is, as I earlier mentioned, our security apparatuses have been responding. But is that good enough? I understand that there's so much work we still have to do. We are farmers in the state. And if we're just having farming half-measured, that is not good enough.
All right, Your Excellency, if I may come in here, my apologies, Your Excellency, my apologies because of time. I empathize with the state. I understand where you're coming from to get things done. But these people came because they feel things have not been done. 3 weeks ago, I said we may be back here. I said the governor or member of cabinet will be here to talk about another set of killings. And then you're here talking about killings. And then these people came to peacefully. Was there any, did you get any information by any stretch of imagination that ulterior motive was to take center stage, or people who carried weapons to destroy anything that led to the disbursement? Because this is very important, that people are exhausted and tired from being killed, and they come out to protest, and they are being suppressed.
Oh, no, that's a too powerful and stronger word, suppression. They were not suppressed. The deputy governor went in there. I understand their frustration. Any other person in the state can also understand our frustration. But fact be told, outside of emotions here, if 17 local governments were in the front lines, when I keep saying this, it's like I'm being put on the defense just to protect the uniform and my government and the federal government. But that is not the case, sir. 17 local governments were under attacks. We fought it all down to 9 local governments. We fought it down to 6 local governments. Now we have fought it down to 3 local governments. That is a huge milestone. You can only appreciate this if you are within the state, or if you are in the full understanding of this. So there are frustrations, quite all right. Is the milestone made good enough and satisfactory? There's so much more work we have to do for us to say, yes, we have tried and have done so well. This is fully understood. So the protesters were not suppressed. They were not deterred. The police were out there in fact, in their own midst. And this is why I say I appreciate all those who are sympathetic with the state. It's ideal that they are sympathetic with the state because it's happening with us. It can't be any other state, or it can't be any other person at all. So they were not suppressed, and they were not even pushed back. tear gas was thrown in there, efforts were being made where they were. This is the bank road. This is part of the bank road. Banks are in there. There are some people who are headed to 1-2 banks, and that was even scary. So we wouldn't have preempted what was even going to happen after all. There are a number of people who came in and even spoke to the protesters themselves. And then they made a push back themselves. They cleared the road for the other road users to gain advantage of the roads.
All right. Your Excellency, we must let you go, continue your work. We hope that we don't come back again for this kind of conversation. It's very heartbreaking. I said this 3 weeks ago, and we're back on this table. The Benue people need a bit of a relief. They need to be protected. They've been through hell and warm waters. Now you're in charge. I hope that God will help you to be able to sort this out as soon as you can. Your Excellency, the Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, thank you, sir, for your time and for coming on the program. We wish you the very best.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take a quick break now. When we come back after this break, we will be switching gears from issues around security to issues around accountability. Why do we have padding, as is alleged, in our budget? Besides that, why are projects in Nigeria super expensive? If you juxtapose it with neighboring countries around us who have maybe similar environment around us. We just heard about the 39 billion naira used to renovate the International Conference Center by the FCT administration under Nyesom Wike, and people have been asking questions. We'll piggyback on that to look at other issues around big budgets, big money's being spent. Maybe they should have spent less. We do not know. We'll bring that conversation in just a moment. Join us again.